Hello DragonCrafters, this is Warcrow from DragonCraft Productions and welcome to another video. This time we'll be looking at Transistor and answer this question. Should you play it or not? Transistor is the second game to be released from Supergiant Games, the developer for the critically acclaimed Bastion. Personally, I was extremely looking forward to it, as Bastion is one of my all-time favorite games ever to be released. However, when I installed it for the first time, I noticed that it was too different from the previous title of Supergiant Games. I dropped it almost immediately. I tried for a second time, but I only reached up to a certain point before dropping it again. However, I finally decided to get on with it for one last time. And I was rewarded with it. True, Transistor is too different from Bastion, yet they share many similarities. But let's take this from the beginning, shall we? Transistor is hard to define by genre, but if I had to do it, I would say it's an action game with real-time strategy and RPG elements. You see, it's not pure strategy or pure RPG, so in my opinion, I can't put it in those boxes. Similar to Bastion, it tries to see what it can implement on its gameplay, make it work, make it unique. In Transistor especially, they took what made Bastion great and added new twists in the mix. I have great respect for those who are not afraid to experiment with things, and once again, Supergiant Games delivered. Let's start with the story, the most important aspect of any game in my opinion. The story is vague and leaves you wondering or asking questions, but not to the level where there are holes in the plot itself. It's difficult to explain, but let me give it a shot. You play as Red, a famous singer who finds herself somewhere in the fictional city of Cloudbank. The moment the game starts, you see a man impaled by a sword, and that sword is speaking to you. Through that sword, we come to realize from the very beginning that Red's voice is now lost, stolen. We take the sword out of the man who's also Red's lover. However, he now resides inside the sword, guiding and helping Red to get to the bottom of what has happened. Together, you make your way through Cloudbank, which is beset now by weird robotic enemies who are part of the process. With the help of the sword, and as we come to know it, the Transistor, you must emerge victorious, wander through dangerous parts of town, and find out the culprit behind the culling of the city. There is a lot more to the story, but that's the bare minimum I can reveal before delving too deep into spoiler territory. Do yourself a favor, don't look it up, just play the game. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. Visually, Transistor looks wonderfully rendered. There are a lot of details added to the mix, and the unique art makes the world of Cloudbank really astonishing to walk around. It has a digital theme to it, but it makes perfect sense once you consider the story. I don't have anything bad to say about the graphics or anything too good to just further the review. Transistor looks good, the graphics fit the theme of the game, and in the end, that's what matters. Let's head to soundtrack and voice acting. It comes to little surprise, but Transistor follows the backbone of Bastion and delivers with powerful and emotional soundtrack that is simply amazing and fits the entire thing all too well. Although I'd prefer if we didn't have yet another silent protagonist, but as if to compensate for this, we can press a button and have Red hum away as the world around her goes silent. To make things even better, Red will hum the song that's playing right now in the level you're at. It's one of those small things that you find and feel impressed by. However, it's not like voice acting doesn't have anything to deliver. Although the majority of the voice acting is done similar to Bastion by narration, this time through the Transistor, it's voiced by the same person who voiced Rux in the previous title. This time it sounds more digital in order to fit the theme of Transistor to a better degree. There are a couple new voice actors in the game, but although they are more than decent, they don't have too many lines and you tend to forget about them very soon. Gameplay now. As I mentioned earlier, it's a mix of action, RPG and real-time strategy. All this might sound too much and might scare away most people, but it really shouldn't. Let's go through them one by one, shall we? First of all, you don't have a standard attack or anything similar. All attacks are done through function, which you load through the Transistor. There are various different types, from crash, which is, as the name suggests, you crash your sword hard to the ground to deal damage, to jaunt, where you basically teleport around on high speed, to ping, where it basically serves as a long-range gun attack. However, you also have the ability to combine function. For example, if you use ping as the base attack and add jaunt to it, you will be able to use ping every time, even after your turn, which we'll get in a bit. There are various and many combinations you can utilize and explore, making the game that much more rewarding if you go out of the beaten path. You decide what to do and how. If your health meter reaches 0, instead of just dying, you are given a second chance. However, you will lose a random function. This means you must now fight without one of the attacks that you chose, and it's probably part of a combination. This will keep going until you're all out of function, then result in a game over. About the turn I mentioned earlier, it basically is what it makes Transistor an RTS game. To be more specific, with a click of a button, time freezes around red. You're now able to do a combination of attacks inside a predetermined period of time, position yourself to a better spot, or dodge an attack that would otherwise kill you. Or even better yet, a combination of all three. At first it scared me, I'll be honest, but very soon I got hooked on it. And here's the most important part. Once you complete a turn, you have to wait before you can use it again or even attack at all. There is some function you use while you wait for the meter to recharge, but your decision that you made mere seconds ago might be the difference between life or death. In order to help you understand the game a little better, Supergiant Games have added various tests. There are different kinds, like once you have to defeat a certain number of enemies inside one single turn with predetermined functions, or one where you have to survive for a certain amount of time against waves of enemies. And for those looking for even a bigger challenge, having mastered all the basics, Transistor has a difficulty curve. The enemies that you encounter, although after a while they are all the same really, they're starting to evolve, meaning on the previous actions one more is added, similar to your own Transistor. And to further mess with you, instead of a Transistor having a set difficulty mode like normal or hard, they followed the same route as Bastion, this time with limiters. Those things you activate inside your Transistor, and for the benefit of earning more experience points, the enemies now will behave differently. For example, the enemies will now spawn in a greater number or will now strike with more power. However, when you have the basics down, adding more limiters will feel extremely satisfying instead of just relief when you clear a wave. To sum up, Transistor is a game that you should play. It's a wonderful little gem that doesn't require too much time to complete, and every step of the way is more than worth it. Don't feel threatened by the RTS or RPG elements, they're not imposing you in any way, in fact they are there to help you. Do yourself a favor, play through this game and just forget the war for as long as you play. That is the main reason we play video games, to escape to a better reality, and with Transistor, you have that chance yet again. Thank you for watching folks, tell me in the comments below how much of a fanboy I am regarding Supergiant Games, and what you yourselves thought of it. Like the video if you liked it, and subscribe to the channel for more content. Have a good one.